Hey, what's up, everybody? I just want to let you know what I did to study for the GMAT. A little history. I just took the GMAT probably 2 months ago, and I studied for about 3 to 4 weeks before that. I made a 640. I did not study any for the verbal at all. I only studied for the math, and I was pretty successful in that. Now, I didn't need a 700, 740 or above. I already pretty much had my school picked out. I had everything done, and I just knew the kind of the score that would get me in that school, and that's what my goal was. So obviously, if I had wanted to go to Harvard or something, or the Wharton School of Business, then I would have studied a lot longer and a lot harder. So you kind of have to base that on where you want to go. If you want to go to Georgia State, for example, and their minimum is, or their average is 550 or 600, and you don't really need to study that hard for it. That's just me. Anyways, what I did was I needed help in the math. The math is pretty difficult. It's ironic. It's pretty easy in how the problems are, but the way they're set up and the way they're worded makes them pretty difficult. So what I did was I got a personal tutor that I found off Craigslist. And he's at the GMATcoach.com if you want to go. He's only in Atlanta, but he was pretty good. And I just sat down with him maybe 4 or 5 times, and he kind of had a plan for me, and we talked it out. And he did a really good job. And the biggest thing that people have the misconception of is that if you go get a tutor or you go to a class, that you're just all of a sudden going to master it. No. He just taught me the basic principles of what I needed to know. And then I had to go down and do it and do the actual work, take notes, see where I had problems, and go from there. The biggest thing I did was I took a ton of practice tests. You can find 2 on MBA.com, MBA.com, not NBA. And there's tons more. You can pay like $8 or something on the web and get like 20 of them. And a lot of them tell you what you did wrong. And then they give you a clock, to gauge yourself. Because the GMAT, you have 2 questions to do every minute in the math part. So, let me see, what else here? Like I said, I just basically studied the math. I didn't do any verbal, and I did pretty well in the verbal. Obviously, if your English isn't your first language, then you probably want to study a little bit more verbal. But a lot of it, like if say you didn't have the money or there wasn't a tutor available, you could do it yourself. It's not that hard. WIN, GMAT.com is a good source. I didn't use them, but I tested them out. They were pretty good. They kind of break the problem down. That was a good one. Like I said, just do a ton of practice tests because a lot of the practice tests tell you where you did wrong. One good tip that I do have is for the Datasufficiency. That's the ones that I had the most problem with early on. And the problem that I had with Datasufficiency is that I tried to solve the problem. Datasufficiency doesn't want you to solve the problem. They want you to be able to see, can the problem be solved? You see? Because in Datasufficiency, you have to say the first one only, the second one only, the first and 2 together, the first and second alone, or neither. So you have 5 options, and they don't want to say, x equals 3. You don't want that. You want, can x equal 3, or does that make sense if x equals 3? And that was one of the biggest things that I have. And it'll make more sense once you start looking at some Datasufficiency problems, and then you'll be able to kind of tell what I'm talking about. Another tip I have for the jobs, like how much can somebody do in an hour or something like that. What if they combine their work problems? Break everything down into 1 hour, and then add those together and cross multiply to find it. So it'll say John can build a table in 6 hours. Well, how much can he do in 1 hour? He can do 1/6. John can build a table in 6 hours. Tim can build a table in 4. How many hours does it take for them to build it together? So it's 1/6 plus 1/4 equals x over 1, or 1 over x, sorry. And that, all you do is just solve for x, and then that's it. So I don't know if that makes sense, but maybe I'll make another video later if y'all really want to. But like I said, that's really about it. The GMAT is not that bad. It's really, really long, 3.5 hours. Oh, I almost died. So go in there, be very prepared. The essay, I didn't have any problem with that. I didn't study for that at all. I got 6s on the essays, I believe, or 5s. I don't know, whatever the highest one, or 7. I don't know, but I did well. I remember that. Like I said, I just studied for the verbal. I mean, for the math, I didn't study for the verbal. And I studied for about 4 weeks. I studied for the last 2 weeks pretty hard, probably 2 to 3 hours a day. For the first 2 weeks, I just kind of went over problems, kind of what I did, and stuff like that. So, like I said, those websites that I used, the GMATcoach.com. He's only in Atlanta. I did kind of shy away from the Kaplans, from the bigger name guys. I had heard some kind of horror stories about them. Plus, they charge $2,000 to $3,000, which I think is ridiculous. I had some friends go to them. They said it was kind of not really worth it. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can try it. I didn't try them, so I don't know. I just didn't use them. So you can kind of do whatever you want. Like I said, the GMAT is very important to getting into the school that you want. You have to take it. For, I guess, pretty much any accredited school. So just try to do well on it. It's not as bad as everyone makes it seem. I actually kind of enjoyed studying for it, the math part at least, because it was kind of a challenge to me. It was kind of a puzzle, and it was invigorating to say the least. To get them right, you feel really good about yourself, and then I see a lot of things different now. Like when I see numbers on TV, I can add them up real quickly in my head or multiply them real quickly. There's some rules that you want to get down for those, and I'll show some more videos where the rules that I use, and they really help me out in determining problems very quickly, which is one of the biggest aspects of the GMAT, is being able to solve problems quickly. One example, say the square root of 3,675. Man, that would take a long time to figure out. But if you know that 60 squared is 3,600, that 70 squared is 4,900, it's somewhere between 60 and 70 squared, so it's probably around 62 squared, something like that, 61 squared. So, anyways, that's all I got. I'll make some more videos later. If you guys want, just rate me good, and if you want, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. But I hope you do good on the GMAT, and hopefully I can show you how to do a little bit better. So, see you next time.